Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. And today guys we are going to be talking Adeptus Mechanicus, things that have been leaked and what it means for Das Meta. Oh, it's been a doozy. Oh, it's a biggie. Now these leaks have been out for a couple, I say leaks, reveals by Games Workshop, been out for a couple of days now. I will include, I've got the pictures here, but I'm also going to include a link to a Warhammer competitive Reddit article down in the description below, and that will be where you can follow that link and you can see a full summary of all of the changes. Not all of them are pictured here, some of them are put in text, and also there's a great bit of discussion about what this means and for the meta and what people think is going to change and everything. So highly recommend you go and check that out. And I just want to say big thank you to the user Philodox for posting that and summarising the content, and then being that sort of focus point for us being able to do that discussion on the old Warhammer competitive Reddit. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So there's a strong indication that Adeptus Mechanicus are going to be one of the next armies that are going to be coming out, along with Sisters of Battle, and it looks like the Adeptus Mechanicus are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Now of course, points changes will potentially be coming with the Codex, but that is not guaranteed. Because what did we see with Dark Elder? They got all the points sorted out in the Minotaur Field Manual, in the FAQ first, then they released the book. So there's a strong chance that the points are not going to change. We'll just have to take things as they are. Now I'm going to give you a quick summary of the Adeptus Mechanicus weapons and what the changes are that we know so far. I'm going to do this quick summary, and then I'm going to talk about meta implications, because there's already plenty of videos on YouTube out there that go into details on the individual changes, but not so much the ripple effect, the knock-on, what is next, what could this mean for the competitive side of the game. So very quickly, galvanic rifles are changing from rapid fire, one bolter round basically with some occasionally AP -1 if you get a 6, to a heavy 2, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1. So straight away they've got the AP -1 always on now, which is, it's good, it just simplifies the game, but it is it is power creep at the end of the day. Oh, in a minor way, but still it's there. Heavy 2 is a really interesting choice because it used to be rapid fire, so the Skitarii Rangers could move and shoot, and then if they got closer they could get more shots. But now they're heavy. I actually like that change. I think from when you look at the weapon to the fluff, the Rangers are meant to be sniper kind of units, and having a rapid fire sniper weapon does not make sense. Having it as heavy 2 makes a lot of sense. It is a rifle. It has a high rate. It still has potential for a decent rate of fire, but if you move with it, it's not as accurate, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, maybe Skitarii will get some kind of move and shoot no problems because they've got fancy legs, but let's assume they don't. I think it's a great choice, and I think it makes the distinction between Skitarii Rangers and Skitarii Vanguard even more distinct. Your Rangers are your sit back and blast away with your nice bolt guns, your fancy big ass rifles, and you get lots of shots and you don't care about getting close. There's no incentive for you to get close because you do the same amount of damage if you stay still at the back. And your Vanguard are your get up in the enemy's face kind of cannon fodder. They've got assault weapons. Those assault weapons are short range and they've got great amount of firepower, and that is what your Vanguard are. Your Vanguard are your assault infantry, and your Rangers are your sitting back on objectives infantry. Great distinction. Hopefully we'll see those units used in their fluffy and also intended roles. Next one, that was too long for a summary. Next one, arc weapons, damage D3 normally, and now against vehicles they always win on a 4+ and a flat damage 3. That is massive, okay? So the fact that they were already very good and now they're getting even better is incredible. They always winning on a 4+. That is kind of like old grav from what old haywire weapons. All the haywire weapons didn't do any of this random mortal wound stuff. Haywire was kind of like poison for vehicles. So poison that we all know and love now, or hate if you're on the receiving end of it, is that you always wound infantry on a certain roll. And I believe, and I could be totally wrong, I could be totally misremembering this. It's been a long time since I had any sort of haywire and old style haywire interaction, but I believe that haywire was basically poison for vehicles. So the fact that they're returning to that is kind of good. But arc weapons are clearly now not the same as haywire weapons. You know, haywire is in the Dark Elder book, and it's, as it always has been, there's some mortal wound shenanigans going on there. And this arc weapons, it's like poison for vehicles. And flat damage 3, always wounding vehicles on a 4+. Flat damage 3, that means that it only takes 4 shots from arc weapons to kill a Leman Russ. Obviously they have to hit and win, but you know what I mean. So 4 unsafe wounds. This is another kick in the gonads for vehicles. And it only gets worse. Skipping ahead slightly, COGNIS LASCANNONs are now Assault 2, not heavy. They are damage D3 plus 3. And Cataphrone Destroyers don't kill themselves with plasma, overcharge, hit roll of 1. It's 1 mortal wound. I'm okay with the Cataphrone Destroyer thing. I think hopefully what the implications I would like for those two changes is that regular LASCANNONs will get damage D3 plus 3. That would be nice. And that the whole COGNIS part of it is the assault thing. And I think the Cataphrone Destroyers don't kill themselves with plasma overcharge. 1 mortal wound said is good, and I'd like to see that ported over to our Sentinels, because plasma cannon Sentinels right now are great but very, very risky. COGNIS Heavy Stubber moves to Assault 4. I would love it if the regular Heavy Stubber went up to Heavy 4. I don't mind if it's Assault or not. I'm happy for COGNIS to basically mean Assault, but we'll see. COGNIS Flamer, D6 plus 2 shots. That's interesting. I reckon the COGNIS part of that is the plus 2 rather than the D6. Torsion Cannons, D3 plus 3, that's great. And Transonic Blades, Transonic Blades is basically getting inbuilt AP, none of that mucking around. Now, just to touch on this, because this is an Imperial Guard channel, what do I think these weapon changes mean for the Guard? I think we will be lucky. I think we will be lucky if we receive these updates. I suspect, maybe I am a cynic, but I suspect that we will not see Assault 2 LASCANNONs. Definitely not. But I also strongly suspect we will not see damage D3 plus 3. I imagine that, I would like it. I would like that to be the case. But if it was the case, why wasn't it revealed with Space Marines? Why wasn't it revealed with Space Marines? And then all the Space Marine codexes between now and the beginning of 9th edition, and then Death Guard. If we were going to see standard LASCANNONs with this damage D3 plus 3 profile, we would have seen it earlier. I hope I am wrong. Heavy Stubbers, again, I think it's pretty niche. I think if the Guard Codex does get released, they just won't bother to update the Heavy Stubber profile, but I would love it to go up to an extra shot because I love my Heavy Stubbers. And likewise for Flamers, I highly doubt that we will see every Flamer out there getting plus 2 shots on top of the D6. We've already seen the changes they're willing to make to Flamers. They've got the extra range. And again, if they were going to have done this, they would have done it a long time ago. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that all Flamers get a bit more reliability. I hope that all Heavy Stubbers get extra shots. And I hope that all LASCANNONs become a bit more reliable. But I doubt it. I think the Admech will keep the best gear for themselves. And we will not see that. Now, let's see. I know. So positive, Mordian Glory. Get me hyped. I'm sorry, I'm not getting you hyped. So, what does this mean for the meta? Well, what you've got to understand is with this upcoming release, with Dark Elder already released, and with my reliable sources telling me that we're looking at the next 3 codexes being Admech, Sisters, and Orcs, okay, we are seeing a major shift away from the power armor meta. For pretty much the whole of 9th so far, barring blips like Necrons, who are still pretty power armory, toughness 4 with, yeah, anyway. We have basically been in a power armor meta. Every codex that has been released has been, by and large, a power armor meta. And the Dark Elder were the first big non-power armor faction to come in, and they have come in a big way. They have taken the meta by storm. It's still settling down. I still think Dark Elder will settle into a nice upper, mid, lower, top tier position. or they'll settle in at the very, very top if things don't calm down at all. I think everyone's still changing a little bit. I think everyone's been doing the whole go big or go home thing with weapons. Eradicator's being a really good example, and that kind of thinking doesn't really work against Dark Elder. You need volume of fire. So we'll see where Dark Elder end up. But Admech are the next big non-power armor faction, the next big non-marine equivalent faction. They play very differently to Marines. They are a wacky, unusual faction, but long story short, they are a shooting faction. They are the premier shooting faction. They're the premier shooting faction with an 8th edition codex. I think a lot of people in the Admech were just sitting there praying to the Omnissiah, please, Games Workshop, don't change my codex too much. Just leave things as they are, just minor changes, please, please, please. And Games Workshop has come out and gone, you get a buff, and you get a buff, and you get a buff, and you get a buff. So from what we've seen so far, Admech, it's all their prayers come true, and they are going to be another big, strong faction. Are they going to be overpowered? It's way too early to tell. From what we can see, they are definitely going to be strong. Definitely. Unless something absolutely fundamental changes about the faction. Like we're talking, it's a faction rewrite. And maybe we'll come back in a month or so's time that will be a faction rewrite and we'll all laugh at this video. But unless it's going to be a faction rewrite, Admech are positioned to be a fantastic army. Fantastically powerful and competitive army. Because they now, thanks to Games Workshop putting a bit of effort into the model range, they now have mobility, something they always struggled with. They've got transports, they've got flyers, they've got guys on robotic dogs, robotic cavalry. So they've got the mobility to play that mobility game in 9th edition. They've got the durability, they've got big robots, they've got big vehicles, they've got lots and lots of cheap infantry if you want to go down the Skitarii route. So guess what? That's in a way its own kind of wound by wound durability that we've talked about. So they've got that. And they have firepower in spades. They are the shooting faction, but they're the shooting faction who is not afraid to get down and dirty in combat when they need to. Those dragoons with the laser taser lances are fantastic, and we are seeing Games Workshop has clearly sold enough Electro Priest kits now. They want to sell those Rustalker kits, they want to sell those Infiltrator kits. No one's been buying them for years. They're one of the coolest models they sell, but no one buys them because they're not competitive. And now they're like, right, we've got to shift those close combat kits, we've got to shift those Transonic Razor, Rustalker kits. And so what hopefully you will see is big loads of Rustalkers going all over the place and tearing things to pieces in combat. So thanks to the Admech being in a strong position already, thanks to them having a fleshed out model range, I think they're going to be a real strong contender for the meta. I am concerned about power creep. It's different. I know a lot of people say, oh, wait for the codes to come out. I can see things moving, and when Marines are starting to look reasonable 9 months on from when they were broken, I get concerned. That would be the way I put it. I no longer look at Marines as this faction to be absolutely like just I don't like them. I now would have no issue with facing a Marine army, and maybe it's just relative, but from what's come out since Marines, we're talking Death Guard, and we're talking Dark Elder, and now we're looking at Admech. I think that we could be experiencing power creep. Anyway, we'll have to see how it goes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've liked this content, please consider heading on over to the Patreon page. There's a link down in the description below. As always, a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this channel would still be just a big pile of poo. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you to all my Patreons, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.